Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Tel, and today we're going to be talking about how we can program the ATTiny85. So this is a small microcontroller with 8 pins. Unlike, for example, in a Arduino Nano, you get a given power source because it's coming in through a USB-C, or if it's at a different model of this dev board, it might mini port B or something like that. So you can get the power and the communications in and everything set up for you so you can program it and put a bootloader on it and stuff like that. But we need to do something a bit special when it comes to the ATTiny85. So we've got some options. We can either build our own custom thing, or we can go and buy a programmer for about £22-25 off eBay or one of those online vendors. Or we can use what we've already got, and that might be an Arduino Nano, it could be an Arduino Uno, both could equally work. So when I originally tried to do this, there are quite a few videos out there that do this, but I had problems. Every time I tried to do this I had problems, so I thought, well, I'm not going to use an Uno, I'm going to use a Nano. The reason for this video is so that I can show you how to do it in a simple and organized way without any hiccups and show you the pitfalls to avoid. So let's take a look at the connections we would need to connect these two up. Let's take a look at that. So there we go. This is the connection scheme I've got here, and this uses what they call the old wiring in the ISP, Arduino ISP program, which we'll come to in a minute. We've got the 8 pins there. So we've got VCC, which is 5 volts. We've got ground, which is 0 volts. And then we've got 4 wires that we need to take over from the Arduino Nano to these pins. So we've got 10 on the Arduino Nano goes to a 1 on here. So that's the reset line coming in. Not the Nano reset. This is a GPIO pin which we're going to use on pin 10 and bring it over to there and cause that to be a reset. And then we've got the clock, the meso and the MOSI, which are basically the serial communications pins that we need, and they'll come in on this one, this one and this one. And in terms of connections, that's all we really should need in order to make this work. Right, without further ado, let's go and build it. Right, so in front of us we've got a small portion of breadboard, and on it I've mounted the Arduino Nano. So over here I've got the AT85, which I'll just mount over here to get it in the slot. And then we need to put some power on this. So we're going to get our 5 volts from the Arduino pin. The 5 volts, which is here. And then we'll take the ground here. So this red line means positive voltage. That's going to be the 5 volts. So the 5 volts will go to there. This one will be the negative voltage. And some of these rails need to be coupled. So before I do anything else, I think I'll just couple the two rails. So we're gonna need 5 volts up there. Then I'm going to connect pin 8, which is 5 volts, to 5 volts of the ATTiny. And we want 0 volts to pin 4. Alright, so 5 volts to 5 volts, 5 volts to pin 8, which is VCC. Ground goes to 0 volts there. And then we'll take the 5 volts here and connect that into the 5 volts coming from the Arduino Nano. Then we'll tuck in the ground. So the ground is on this pin there. So that should give us all the power that we need. And then we're going to start putting stuff on. First one I'm going to go to is pin 10. So that one there will go to the reset pin, which is on pin 1 of the ATTiny. The next one will be pin 11, and that will connect to pin 5 as per our drawing. And then the next one will be pin 12, that will go to 6. And the last one from pin 13 of the Arduino to, I'll have to tuck that underneath there and put that into pin 7. So that's nice and neat. In order to prepare for something we want to do later, we're going to construct a little circuit here, ready to take an LED. What I'll do is I'll put a resistor in first. So I'll put a current limiting resistor, a few hundred ohms, to there. So when that goes high, then it will it'll turn the LED on. I'll put another link in. A link in there. So that should work, hopefully. So output from pin 2 goes to the positive leg on the LED, and the other leg goes down to ground. Hopefully that will work. Let's see if anything happens. Right, okay. I'll take that out for now, and I'll put that back in again later, I think. So we know we've got our scope to put the LED in. Right, okay, so let me just check then. Right, so we know that the first pin, which is pin 10, goes to the reset, which is right. The second pin, which is 5, will go to D11, which it does. Third pin, which goes to D12, is there, which it does. And the last pin goes to 13. That comes right the way around there. Pin 13 is there. So we've got ground to ground. We've got 5 volts to red there, which is correct. That's linked to the top. And then we've also got a ground for that, and we've got a ground for that. Okay, so I think we're good to go. So let's plug it in. Right, so I'll have a look with the multimeter. Just make sure we've got all our voltages there. Looking okay. So hopefully we'll see 5 volts on there, which we do. So we'll see 5 volts everywhere we need to get it now. That's great. Okay, good. So that's stage 1. We'll come back to the LED later, because after we manage to program a bootloader on this, I want to download a little blink routine, and I want to drive it from this pin. So that's what we're going to do, but I'm not going to do that until we've done the other bits. So the LED will go between ground and that resistor. When pin 2 goes up and down, assuming it does, then we'll be able to prove that it's working, that it's done what we thought it would do. And then we'll change the value and make it blink a little bit quicker or something. So right, so that's what we're going to do. Okay then, so we're going to now try and configure Arduino Nano to be an ISP programmer, and also we're going to then download a bootloader to the ATTiny85, and then we'll upload some code. So the first thing I want to do is to change the board. Fine, we've got a blank sketch there, so that will do fine. So we've got that set up for an Arduino Nano. That's how you do it, that's where you do it. You pick it if it's something else. What I want to do now is go to the examples and pick up the Arduino ISP sketch. Alright, and this is the sketch that's going to allow us to become a Arduino ISP programmer. Right, so what I want to do now is to just trickle down to somewhere down here. I think it's around about 80. Yes. So we're using this styling of wiring there. So we're going to use the pins 11, 12 and 13. In order to do that, we need to comment out line 81, which just is a define. So saying if it's that, then we're going to use these pins. For pin 10, which was the reset, I believe that it was already defined somewhere else. So that's fine by default. I'm going to hit the upload button and see what happens. Right, so that's good. So let's see what we've got in the available boards. If we go to the board manager and try and search for ATTiny, it's not there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to go to the preferences section, and in the additional boards I'm going to paste in this URL, which will be in the description of the video. If there's an additional boards already in there, then you can put a comma and then add this at the end. So let's go to the tools and go to the boards manager and try and find the ATTiny now. We pasted that in. Right, ATTiny. And there it is. It's by David A. Mellis. Oh, sorry, 1.02. So let's install that. So we've got that in place. And by the way, we're using, if I didn't say this already, IDE 2.3.2. That's the latest version at the time of recording. Now we're going to go and burn the bootloader, or at least try. But before we do that, I've got to set up ATTiny. There it is. That's ATTiny85, 45 and 85. Right, let's go back and have a look at the configuration for that. So under the tools menu, we see it's 1 megahertz, which is what we want. But it isn't the right processor, because we've got the ATTiny85. It will give you the 25 by default. If you don't change that, you won't be able to do anything with it. We've got the ATTiny, and that's what we've chosen, and we've got the right configuration for it. So we should be able to hopefully burn a bootloader now. What I need to do now is to go to the tools, and I haven't specified the programmer. So the programmer is the Arduino as ISP. Now we can do it. Burn the bootloader. And it's burning it now. Okay. Right, so we've done that, and the next thing I want to do is to download a sketch. So we'll go and get the Blink sketch. So basics, Blink. So this will not work because the LED bulletin doesn't exist. Okay, so we really need to define that. In the ATTiny it doesn't exist. So if I just go define LED bulletin as 3, which is the data pin, which is there. If you look on the right hand side of the screen where my pointer is pointed, that's where it comes out, that output. And it goes to that resistor. We're going to have an LED. So we've defined it now, so we could refer to it in the code. This would work in an Arduino Nano without this extra definition, but it won't in an ATTiny. So in main loop, all we do is say, right, I'll go on and send this LED bulletin pin high, wait a second, send it low, wait a second. That's it. That's all we're doing, right? So now, in order to upload a sketch using the ISP programmer, it's slightly different. You don't use this arrow, right arrow there. What you do is you go to sketch and you go upload using the programmer. If you try to do it with the arrow and the button bar, you will get errors and you will be scratching your head thinking, why isn't this working? That's where you need to upload it. So let's try and do that and see if it uploads. Compiling the sketch, uploading. So far so good, and then now it's done uploading. So this is the point. I'm going to pop in the LED. So I hope I got it right. Yes, I did. Right, so there's our little flashing blue light, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and change that to, what do we want? 200 milliseconds, say. 200 milliseconds on, 200 milliseconds off. So let's go back to our sketch. And you will make this mistake, because I make it still now. I'm trying to hit the right arrow. Upload using the programmer. And there you go. 200 milliseconds on, 200 milliseconds off. So hopefully that proves to you that it's not difficult to do, but there are some steps that you can fall down on if you don't make sure you do them in that order. So thank you for watching. Enjoyed it and you found it useful. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I will see you next time. It's gonna be